Welcome back to Red Hawk Media. Today we're taking a look at Final Cut Pro. And in Final Cut Pro we're working on the green screen feature. Right now we're going to look at some footage here. This is the actual green screen footage that you're looking at. And then we're going to look at the finished product here. So you can see one of the main tricks for the green screen to make it work really well is to make sure that the green screen is really well lit. We're working on a film noir unit currently, and we're working on some deep shadows in the characters or the actors or the talent in front of the camera, but the green screen itself has to be really well lit for it to work. So taking a look at that, this is the finished product of what we've got. You can see here that we've got like an interrogation scene type setup. It's taking place in a cell. Here's the same exact scene. This one's taking place actually in a cage, but I haven't set up the green screen yet. That's where we're going to begin today. So let's go ahead and start over here. I'm going to show you a few things for this to begin with. If you want, you can drag in your JPEG that's going to be sitting underneath the green screen. Green screen has got to be the top layer. The JPEG, whatever picture you're using, is going to be the bottom layer. I prefer to work with the black layer first so that you can see to make sure that all the green is out of there, and then you can kind of fine tune it with the picture. So to begin with, I'm going to go to the chroma keyer, which is one of the video filters. Now I've saved it into my filter or into my favorites. I'll show you where it is though in the actual video filters. So I go video filters, I go to key, and then I've got the chroma keyer there. I go ahead and drag that onto my green screen clip. Once that's on there, I double click on my clip so I can start editing it, and I can see the chroma keyer tab is up here in the top. So I can go ahead and click on that. Now I want to get rid of all the green in the green screen, so I'm going to use the eyedropper to actually select it out of there. So go ahead and select. You can see it only takes out a small spectrum of the greens that are actually in the clip though. So I need to add onto that spectrum and put more in there. So I click on the eyedropper again. This time though, I'm going to hold shift before I click on the next green. And I keep repeating this process until I get most of the green out of there. And that's pretty close. Now there are two adjustments that I'm going to work with here, probably three actually, that'll make this fine-tuned. I can see a little bit of green around the edges here, and it's not quite there. There's a little green left over in the black here. So first one I'm going to use is called edge thin. Down here on the edge thin slider, I'm going to drive that up until the green is pretty much gone. The offshoot of this, or the downfall of the edge thin, is around my talent here you can see that it gets really jagged and pixely looking. So now we got to actually smooth it out, so we use the softening bar. Softening bar, if I drag that up, will actually remove the green out of there, but if I keep dragging it too far, it will soften off all of the edges and I'll start to lose part of my image. So I drag it back just until I see the green and back a little bit. And there we go. Now I'm all set up. If I still have some lingering green that's in there and I need to get rid of it, I can use the enhance, but if I drag that too much, you can see the pink starting to come in around my outlines here. See the pink around his head there. I don't want that, so I'm going to drag that back till it's out of the picture here. And that looks pretty good. So now I've got that all chroma keyed up. If I drag over this, it looks pretty good. I'd want to test out all of the clip to make sure that there's no green that shows up at any time, but at this point it's a good time to go ahead and drag in the picture that I'm using. So go ahead and drag that into the level below. Got my snap guides on here so that it lines up perfectly. I don't want any empty frames there. And then I'm going to go ahead and just drag out the picture for the length of the clip. Okay, now you can see my picture doesn't quite fill all the background because it's not the same size as the project. So I double click on that and I can drag that out and I can position it to more of the corner view here, which fits the seating arrangement, and I'm pretty much set. So now I'd go through and I'd look for any green that's lingering in there. This looks pretty good. There's a little bit of green around his head, so I can soften that up a little bit more. Now, I've got the green screen set up for this particular clip. I've got other clips that are similar to that over here. So what I can do is I can actually just drag that effect. Double click on the one that's all finished so that it shows up. And then under the chroma keyer tab, there's a nice little handy feature where you can drag the filters. The chroma keyer is one of those filters, so I'm going to drag it onto my other clip. So go ahead and drag it on the one that's not keyed yet. And if I put my cursor over that, you can see that it's all lined up here. Everything is all set up. All the green is gone. That looks really good, actually. So that's a quick tutorial on how to use the green screen and put those effects in there. What we'll do next is, since we're working in the Film Noir unit, we'll talk about how to make this black and white. Thanks for joining us. This is another edition of Red Hawk Media. See you next time.